the real, raw, honest conversations about parenting teenagers in today's world. No filters, no sugarcoating, just truth, compassion, and practical insight from experts, educators, and parents who are right in the trenches alongside you. This podcast is where parents come to hear the conversations they didn't even know they needed. My mission is simple: to help you feel supported, informed, and empowered so you can build a connection with your teen that you truly want. If you want to go deeper into this work with me, stay until the end, and I will share how you can connect with me. From my heart to yours, thank you for being here, for doing the hard work of parenting, and for choosing to grow right alongside your teen. Welcome back to another episode of Parenting Teens Advice Redefined for today's world, where we have the real and the raw and the honest conversations about raising teenagers in today's world. You know, it's uncharted territory. So when we have these conversations, it's likely conversations parents didn't even know they needed. I am your host, Cheryl Pankhurst. I'm an educational strategist and a family advocate. And today's conversation tackles a milestone that can leave even the calmest parent awake at night, teaching your teenager to drive. If you have a teen who's learning to drive or about to get their permit or already on the road, this episode may be one of the most important conversations you'll have this year. Todd Avery is the founder and owner of Safe Driving Coach and one of the Delaware Valley's most trusted driving coaches. With more than 40 years of experience behind the wheel, Todd has coached thousands of drivers, from nervous first-time drivers to performance enthusiasts on the road race track. What sets Todd apart is his belief that learning to drive isn't about passing a test. It's about developing lifelong habits that keep drivers and passengers and everyone else on the road safe. Through his work, Todd helps drivers build vehicle control, situational awareness, defensive driving skills, confidence, and sound decision-making behind the wheel. Recognizing that parents are expected to supervise, coach hundreds of hours of practice driving with little guidance themselves, Todd created resources specifically to help parents navigate this stage. Today, we're talking about parents and how they can effectively support teen drivers, reduce risk, and ultimately help raise safer, more responsible drivers. Todd Avery, welcome to the show.
Wow, that was an amazing introduction. In fact, that's all I have to say. Good night, everybody. I'll see you later. Right?
Oh, no. No.
That was great, Cheryl. So thank you. So, yes, what you described is exactly who and what I am. So the old 30-second, elevator, pitch or intro, if you will. So I am a car guy. I have been a car guy my entire life. I used to own a bunch of detailing businesses. We used to sell automotive products on live television on QVC for about 10 years. And for the past 21 years, I've been a high-speed driving instructor. So I teach people how to drive their race cars and sports cars on a racetrack. So going 140 miles an hour is awesome, right? That's what I tell my students. They're like, oh, my God. I'm like, no, we're not going that fast. It's only on the racetrack. So how did I come up with becoming a driving school owner? I didn't wake up one morning and thinking, man, you know what? I'm going to own a driving school. So I was working for a friend of mine at his car dealership in a service department. One of our clients was a driving school owner, an older gentleman, and struck up a conversation. I said, I'm a performance driving coach. He's like, we're always looking for other instructors. And we put this whole deal together, basically, that he was going to retire and I was going to sink my teeth into something because I'm an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So we put this deal together, and he brings me on board as the general manager, sales, marketing, driving instructor. I was the end all be all. And in 2 weeks, we had increased our sales. We increased our market share. We increased our visibility on the website. And 4 months later, he's like, no, just be my driver. So I'm like, but we have, contracts and lawyers. He's like, yeah, sue me. I said, okay. So I finally found something that I believe that I'm really good at. I enjoy sitting next to the students. I enjoy helping them become defensive drivers. So I started the driving school. So in Pennsylvania, where we're located, you have to work for one or several driving schools for 2 years. It's kind of like not apprenticeship, like an internship, but you need the experience. So I've been in the business for 10 years and I've been on my own for 8 years. So that's how I got into the business. Once I started going on my own, after the lessons were over with the students, I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, let's talk to the parents. So what we call a quick little download session. So some of the things that we've learned, or that I've learned on the racetrack, can kind of correlate to daily driving with teenagers and our students. So a download session is basically 4 or 5, maybe 6 minutes after lessons over, talking to the moms and dads. And basically we would say, or I would say, hey, here's what's good, here's what's not so good, here's what you have to work on, and here's how we can help. So I would tell them, listen, and I'm a parent, by the way, I've got 2 daughters, almost 26 and 24, which, by the way, I coach my daughters and they will tell you without question, they hated driving with me, hated it. Okay. Meanwhile, they're really good drivers today. Okay. So after the lesson, I would tell the parents, listen, we don't want to tell them what to do. Be careful, slow down, watch out for the traffic light. You want to coach them. You want to ask more questions. How far down the road are they looking? What are the signs telling them? For example, when the speed limit sign passes, ask them, what's the speed limit? They might have missed that, right? Or ask them, what's the color of the car behind you? Couldn't care what the color is. When are they checking their rear view mirror? And then the best question is, what else? So Cheryl, after each download session with these parents, they all said to me, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I never would have thought about that. So I started thinking to myself, well, maybe there's something here. So as the years went on, I got more experience and more Google reviews. All right. So now we're almost at 800 5-star reviews for the driving school. And I kept going back, and people could say to me, I wish I would have known that. Right. So I'm like, all right, maybe there's a market there. So I did a ton of market research, and there's lots of resources for the parents in regards to, how you drive when you're behind the wheel. Right? You come to a stop sign, you look both ways, how you merge. Other driving schools have put out videos. The physical part, the video is behind the wheel, like you're driving. Mm-hmm. But there is no resources for the parents. I'm like, well, if there's not out there, let me create it. So that's what I did. So I created the Parent's Guide to Teen Driving. And basically, it's 21 videos that are me talking to you, the mom and dad, the parent, on how we can help you so you can help your teen learn how to drive. So it's not replacing lessons. It's not an end all be all. It's about a mindset. It's about setting expectations even before you get in the car. Because here's how it goes, right? And I know podcasts, a lot of times they're on video, you might just listen to them, but I'm going to show you, visibly what you think of as a parent, right? So as a parent, your teen now turned 16, and what you're thinking about is this. When you brought them home from the hospital, the little tiny baby, the infant, right? And you've been nurturing them and you've been helping them. And now you look over and you're like, oh my God, look at this individual, right? They're almost an adult. They're doing great things. And in addition to that, as a parent sitting in the passenger seat, you don't have control, right? So we have brakes in our cars. Most parents don't, right? So that's how the parent looks at the teen. And here's how the teen looks at the parent. I got this. I know what I'm doing.
Oh,
right?
God.
I'm good, right? So there's that dynamic. So the video resource is how to be cohesive, how not to argue, how to be it's almost Zen-like when you're in the car. Again, setting expectations, understanding that your teenager doesn't know it all. And they might think they do, but it's our job to help them, right? Going over the basics in the parking lot, that kind of thing. So that's more than 30 seconds, by the way. But that's kind of where I came from. And I created this series of videos because I think it's a great resource. And parents are great at so many different things, like amazing things. But they're not all great at teaching their teen to drive. No. Right? So this resource is designed specifically for moms and dads.
Yeah, and when we first had this conversation, it can be a very stressful topic, but we can make it fun, and I feel like we're going to do that. Because I'm thinking, even when my kids started driving, I've been driving. See, here's the conundrum. I've been driving 40 years. Of course, I can teach you how to drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, I've been driving 40 years. I couldn't freaking start to teach you how to drive because there are so many nuances in driving that there's no way I would remember. Like, and I loved how you even said, what color is the car behind? There's a nuance. Or, anticipating this guy's here and he's kind of looking in his mirror and I know he's going to cut me off. But that's a nuance. And how do you teach that? So how do we and this is probably deep into the course, but how do we actually assume that we can teach the nuances of driving?
Great question. And we can do that. So think about when you're in the car, just you're driving along by yourself, right? Got the radio on, whatever. But your eyes are consistently moving.
Yeah.
You're watching everything. The traffic light, the car in front of you, the car behind you, the bicyclist on the right-hand side, the pedestrian on the left-hand side, the mom with the baby stroller. We as seasoned drivers, we see all of that. New drivers don't see any of that. They stare at one spot because they're so overwhelmed with information. So as a coach and as a parent, we can help them. And it can be a very simple style of teaching is just by asking questions. For example, you're driving down the road. What do you see? Oh, I see trees. I see telephone poles. Okay, makes sense. What else? That what else question is so powerful because it keeps them thinking. It keeps them, they don't understand. They got to process this information.
Yeah.
So for us as a parent, we are proactive. So for example, one of the videos, one of the resources, you're approaching a traffic light. So again, you're with your teen, right? You're out of the parking lot, you're doing some local driving, and you're approaching a traffic light, and you want them to make a left-hand turn. Here's how that conversation should look. All right, we're going to go to the traffic light. We're going to make a left-hand turn. Who has the right of way? Every single teenager says oncoming traffic. They give you the book answer. Okay, we follow up and we coach the parents. Okay, what does that mean? That means we have to yield. Great. What does that mean? That means we have to wait. Great. 3 questions, 3 answers. And what do? They make that left-hand turn on oncoming traffic. Right? So we as a driving school, we have the brake in our car. Parents don't. The idea is to set it up well in advance. So if you know that those cars are coming towards you and your teenager, your new driver is about to make the left-hand turn, have that conversation well in advance, right? You see those 3 cars? Great. We can't go just yet, correct? Yes. How come? Because they have the right of way. So it's not like, slow down, what are you doing? Don't parent, you're going to... That doesn't help, right?
Yeah.
So that's too late. So the idea is to be proactive, set it up well in advance. That's left turns. So let's just say you're coming to a stop sign and you've been to the stop sign a million times. You know that cross traffic doesn't have a stop sign. Ask the question, as we approach the stop sign, does cross traffic have a stop sign? And they might say yes, because they're looking at the stop sign across, right? Well, that's oncoming traffic. Maybe they don't know what cross traffic is. So these are the things that we ask, and then these are the things that the parents can also ask. Because if cross traffic doesn't have a stop sign, they have the right of way, which means you got to stop, look, wait, and then go, as opposed to barely stopping, rolling through, and then next thing you know, it's a crash.
That's so, I love how that is so proactive. And so I'd love to say, what is the biggest risk or the lack of driving skill that our teens get into accidents? I feel like it's not a black and white. Like, what is there that they're missing that are causing accidents? I feel like you're not going to say, well, because they don't put the brake on. Like, what is it?
It's awareness.
Okay.
And it comes with time. And it comes with knowledge. It comes with understanding that, and again, we say it all the time, if your eyes aren't moving, you're missing information. And most students, like I said, they stare at one spot. So you're driving down the road, you as the parent, you see the traffic light all the way in the distance, and it's red. And there's 15 cars in front of it, and they all have their brake lights on. But your teen is still on the gas pedal. So typically, slow down, what are you doing? Right? That doesn't help. Yeah. As opposed to thinking well in advance, asking the question, do you see the traffic light in the distance? Yes. What color is it? It's red. Good. Why are you still on the gas pedal? Right? So to circle back to your question specifically, avoiding a crash, being a defensive driver starts well before the crash even is possible. It's anticipating. It's thinking ahead, and it's filling their brains with information. And as a parent, from the resource standpoint, they're out there, they're just doing it. They think, oh, I've been like what you said, I've been driving for 40 years. I know how to drive. Yeah. But knowing how to drive, but then teaching or coaching your own teen how to drive, it's a different story.
I even driving with my own kids. I told you this story where I was driving with my son, and we're on a side street and the speed limit was 60, and I said, oh no, it's 40 here. It's 40, slow down. And oh no, Mom, it's 60. Like, he was well aware, and I was in panic mode. So I'm the one with no awareness. All I can think of, because my little boy is driving a car, it's always going to be too fast. And so I made him slow down. And sure enough, we got pulled over by the police because it was suspect that we were driving so slow. Maybe he was hammered. Right. And luckily the cops, my son's reasoning, of course, was, see, I told you, Mom, my mom could go 40. And the cop said, always listen to your mother.
Correct.
So there's a lesson for you back there. But, and that was me. It was like, because my baby, not my grown ass son, my baby is driving this 2,000-ton vehicle that one wrong move it always felt too fast. Yeah. So,
and by the way, and not to cut you short, but new drivers can't sense speed. They just can't.
Interesting.
Right. So here's what happens. They see the speed limit and they're thinking, oh, I got to get to the speed limit. And then they're on the brakes. It's over the speed limit and on the brakes. Oh. So tell them it's not about, racing to the speed limit. It's all smooth inputs. Yeah. And yes, for them, I shouldn't say they only, but for the most part, they're only looking for the speed limit sign. How fast should I be going? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's good. What else? Oh, there's a pedestrian sign. Good. What else? The what else forces them to keep talking, right? Keep their eyes moving. So yeah, it's a lot, so we'll have a situation with the student where, our job is to fill their brains with information. That's our job. Right. And sometimes it's too much. So we also watch body language. So again, if you're working with your own teen, Mom and Dad, and you're sensing that they're white knuckled, right, or the sweat bead is slowly going to come down the side of their head. Well, it's overwhelming information. So pull over, take a break. Yeah. Right. So a great question. How long should a lesson be with moms and dads? Right. Is it 15 minutes? Is it half an hour? Is it an hour? Right. And it's one step at a time. I've been doing this a long time, and I've worked with thousands of students and thousands of parents. And some of them, they want to rush the process. You can't rush this process. You just can't. No. Because one, you have teens that have challenges, ADD, ADHD, anxiety, nervousness, neurodivergent. So these resources can help you help the teens. It really comes down to extreme patience and the knowledge of understanding that they just don't know any better.
Yeah.
But, on the same token, real quick, I'll let you run, right? Yeah. Same token, the teenagers of today, from my experience, they overthink things, they're perfectionists, and they don't like making mistakes. Well, sorry, you're going to make mistakes. That's how you learn. Yeah. Right. And and if you overthink things, what happens? And you make a mistake. Okay. But then you make another mistake because you're overthinking that mistake. And next thing you know, now your brain's mush. Right. Yeah. So it's not always about driving. It's about the mental capacity as well.
So, and I'm going to go right into this, the neurodivergent, because how do you know, or how would you direct a parent to understand, yeah, they're 16, but they're not ready. And how do we tell our kids? I mean, everyone my age at 16 was getting there. We called it, okay, here's how old I am, the 365 on my 16th birthday. And we all did. Like, there was no question. It's just what we did. And 9 months later, we had a license, or 6 months or whatever. But now, like, how do parents notice, okay, there's things going on here where it tells me he's not quite ready for this? What would we be looking for?
Just the lack of enthusiasm, the lack of, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to do this. Right. So we might be of the similar ilk from an age standpoint, right? When I turned 16, man, I own my license, give me my car, my freedom, I'm out. Different today, right? It's different because, we didn't have Uber back then, right? And we also didn't have a lot of distractions either.
Yeah.
Right now, everybody's got a cell phone. But to circle back to your question is, you'll know when they're ready. It might sound corny, when they're ready. Right. So listen, you're turning 16 next week. We're going to go get the permit. Yeah, I'm good. Really? What do you mean? Have the conversation. Well, you know what, Mom? I'm just really nervous. Okay. The wrong answer is don't be nervous. The right answer is, what are you nervous about? Well, I don't want to crash. Okay. That's a real feeling. What else? Well, my friend, he just got his license and he didn't do anything wrong. He got no crash. And it's just, I'm scared. Okay. Those are real feelings. So the idea is, how do you manage those? And if they're too nervous or if they're too scared, okay, so you wait, right? Or you throw out an option. Hey, how about we get you a driving school? How about we get you a driving coach, right? They'll be able to help you. They're trained to do those things. Yeah, nah, I'm good. Okay, right? And you want to, I don't want to say push them, give them a little nudge, that kind of thing. But then you have the other ones that study and get their permit. Now they get their permit and they're like, oh, cool, I'm ready to go. And they get in the car and they're like, uh-oh, I'm not ready to do this. So everybody learns differently. Yeah. It really all depends. I'll share a great story with you. So I was with a student, this was probably last year. And we go to get in the car, and according to her mom and her, she had like maybe 2 hours of driving. So very basics, you're still in the parking lot. Okay. So I take her over to the parking lot. We go over the controls, the this, that, whatever. And she's like picking it up like no problem. So I'm like, okay, you seem pretty confident. Let's get on the roads. And now we're on the roads. And again, 16 with 2 hours of driving in a parking lot. And she's doing things that, a seasoned driver will be doing. And I said to her, I'm usually not one to give you, a lot of compliments because you usually make a lot of mistakes. I said, but, have you driven before? She's like, yeah, I've been driving since I was 10. I'm like, 10? Like, your face is great. Yeah, I had the same reaction. Like, 10? What do you mean 10? She said, every summer since I was 10 years old, I would go to Florida and I would stay with my grandparents. And when you're 10 years old, you can drive a golf cart on the street in Florida.
Amazing.
So her grandparents had worked with her for 6 years before she even got her permit. Again, it's a golf cart, but you're on the streets. Yeah. You got to observe all the rules, stop signs, pedestrians, bicyclists. And she was probably, and again, many, many, many students, she was probably the one of a small handful that really, I wouldn't say didn't need coaching. We got her to a different level, but had all of the skills, had the awareness because she's been driving, for 6 years already.
That's a lot.
Right? It's crazy. It's crazy.
And I'd love to say to parents, if you have kids who are neurodivergent, chronologically, yes, they're 16, but very, very often, 99.9% of the time, when we have a kid who's on the spectrum or ADHD, chronologically 16, developmentally, socially 12, 13. So if you're at home going, what the hell? Like, why do you want your license? I don't understand. What's your problem? They're not ready, literally not ready. And so we have to keep that lens on tight when we talk about our kids who are neurodivergent, because you can really go backwards in their progress if we start judging them on when we think they're ready. No, sorry, that's not how it works. So I'd love to ask then too, with your program, is this supplementing formal driving lessons, or is this instead of, like, parents are just taking it on? This is it. It's just me.
Great question. So the video resource is an add-on.
Okay.
So this is not going to replace you. It's not going to replace a driving school, because again, I would say most parents that bring us on board, they obviously want us to teach their teens to be a defensive driver, all of those things, but we also get that certificate of completion. Right. So the certificate in Pennsylvania, if you do a minimum of 6 hours behind the wheel, you get that certificate when they get their driver's license. That can help with some of the costs from the insurance standpoint. But the video resource is designed for the beginning stages. So this is not for someone that, has been driving for 6 months, they've got 50 hours under their belt, the parents are feeling pretty comfortable. Yeah, they still be making some mistakes, but they feel pretty comfortable. This is for the very beginning, brand new driver with the student, the teen driver that's extremely nervous and anxious, and so is moms and dads. So that's where these come into.
Okay.
So there's, and we run the gamut. So the first one's in the parking lot. Right? You might think they know which pedal is the brake pedal. They don't. Right? You might think that they know left turn signal is down, right turn signal is up. They don't. They also don't know how much pedal pressure they need or don't need on the gas pedal, on the brake pedal. A typical situation, a story I've gotten many, many times over the years from parents, is they went to a parking lot. So they're doing the right thing, right? Seating position, mirrors, all that good stuff. And they go to put it into drive, and they don't have the conversation of, listen, once you put the car into drive, the car is going to move automatically. Well, they put their foot on the gas, not realizing that the car is now moving even that much faster. They panic, press harder on the gas pedal because they think now it's the brake, but they didn't switch over, and then they crash. Right. So it's having those conversations. So there's a parking lot resource. There's when you're backing up. Right. So mostly every car now has a camera, a backup camera. Well, they don't show you everything. So you can't trust the camera. You can't trust technology. It sounds terrible. You got blind spot monitors, you got sensors in the bumpers, you got all of these things. The problem is, it doesn't show you everything. I had a perfect scenario with a student the other day. She's looking at the camera, and I'm looking over her left shoulder. I see a car coming into the drive or into the parking lot where we were located. She's looking at the camera. I said, "Don't look here." She's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "Look over your shoulder." She looks over. She's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Now look at the camera." The car wasn't there yet. So when you're backing up, you gotta look behind you. So these are the things, again, that moms and dads can help. Lane changes. Right? Making a proper lane change, merging onto the highway, right? So imagine you're taking your teen on the highway, first time on the highway. What's that conversation? Oh, you'll be good. Just go ahead, give it some gas. No.
Full of grace.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Right. So have that conversation. Okay, here's what it sounds like. And this is what the videos are for. We're going to get on the highway. Right. We've done lots of lane changes. You know how to make a proper lane change, but just turn signal, check your mirror and check your blind spot over your shoulder. Remember, where we are in Pennsylvania, certain roads, the speed limit's 55. Nobody goes 55, they're all going faster. So you can't merge on a 20 or 30. Have that conversation before you even get on the highway. And don't rush that process. I could tell you stories all day till next Tuesday, right? Parents are like, oh, you got the permit. Oh, you're ready to drive, let's get on the highway. What? No. Rush it. It's overwhelming. And God forbid something happens and you put them on the highway and they've got no hours of driving, right? Shame on you, right? So think about these things well in advance. Parking. We have a whole parking lot lesson, right? What's the key to parking? Go slow. Well, I watch mom and dad and they zip right in there. Go slow. Keep your foot on the brake. Here's what happens. They go from the brake pedal, gas pedal, and back to the brake pedal. Well, they press too hard on the gas pedal. So these are all things that are designed to help moms and dads. One, before you even get in the car. Two, once you're in the car, and now while you're driving as well. There's one video of, what if you get pulled over by the police? What's that situation look like? Motorcycles, driving in the rain, driving in the snow. So it's taken me years to develop this resource. And we did a tremendous amount of marketing, I shouldn't say marketing, I should say, what do I think I'm losing my train of thought. Research marketing, right? So of current and past parents. And I said to them, be honest with me. Don't hold back. If these videos are terrible, tell me. If they're amazing, tell me. And Cheryl, every single parent said, I wish I would have had these when I first started working with my team.
I wish I'm picturing what I was like in the car, and even the difference between their dad and myself, like me overly cautious, keep the brake on, just don't go. Let's just not.
Right.
To dad who wants a Porsche 911 and that's how we're going to drive. So they're getting very mixed messages, of course.
Yeah, right.
And it's funny when you talk about the backup camera, I'm like, this is my generation where we never had them, and now we have them. And many times I have to be so aware. I have my phone stand at the top, on top of my camera. And how many times I look at my phone and start backing up because I don't see a car behind me. I'm not even looking at the friggin' camera. And I have been driving for 45 years. So it doesn't end. The awareness doesn't end 100%. So I want to ask then, we can't all come to Delaware.
But we're in Pennsylvania.
So, why did I say Delaware?
I don't know. Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Right. I've been driving for 46 years, so that's how old I am. So let's not judge my memory.
I apologize.
So I want to say, what can parents, now this is global, this is North American, what can parents look for when they want to get a driving school in Toronto or New York or Delaware?
Great question.
Yeah.
So a couple different factors determine what I believe is a good driving school. First, reviews. Now, for the most part, if you look at a lot of different driving schools that are out there, they're going to have good reviews, right? Oh, Cheryl was great. She's amazing. Todd was great. They're amazing. This driving school, that driving school. But you also want to talk to the teenagers that are taking lessons from those specific schools. Call them school A, B, and C, right? School A, the instructor sat next to me, was on their phone, right? Didn't really, teach me, didn't really coach me, didn't really help me, right? School B, not so much on the phone, right? But maybe they were running errands, right? Yeah, I got to go to the dry cleaner. So you take me to the dry cleaner, they get out, they pick up their clothes, they put in the back, right? And then school C is like, no, my driving coach sat next to me. They asked me questions, right? Where am I looking? What am I doing? All of those things. So in this case, the reviews can be deceiving. And I know that because I've had students from other driving schools that have said, Todd, you're telling me stuff I've never heard of before. I had one situation, and I'll leave the names out. It's not important. That it's a fairly large driving school in this area in Pennsylvania. That this individual, this young lady, she did, I think, 12 hours. So they do 2-hour lessons. We do 90-minute lessons. So 12 hours behind the wheel.
Yeah.
And the mom called me. She's like, I don't know, Todd. She's like, she's not getting any better. And I'm like, well, did you talk to the driving school? No, I don't want to ruffle feathers. I'm like, ruffle feathers? I'm like, you're paying for a service. If you go to a restaurant and you order a meal and the meal is awful, you're just going to eat it and pay? No, they're making a mistake. Send it back. Get something different. So I'm telling her now some of the things we work on the car. And she looks over me. She's like, Todd, she's like, I didn't know any of this stuff. I'm like, you had 12 hours of lessons. She's like, what you're telling me? And we're still in her driveway, right? Seating position, mirrors. You don't just jump in a car, put the car in drive and go. You got to set things up. So to answer your question specifically, it's reviews, obviously. It's, are they licensed? right? In whatever state that you're in. Do they have an instructor's break on the passenger side floor?
Oh God, yeah.
Right. And then have your teen's friends driven with that specific school, and what's been the feedback? Here's the typical answer, right? So we drop our students off, right? Whether mom and dad are home, what have you. So now they go into the house, we leave. Here's the question that typically moms and dads ask. How was the lesson? What's your answer? Fine, good. Typical teenager answer. No, don't ask that question. Ask them, what did you learn? Oh, well, I learned that, the high beams is that little blue, jellyfish on the dashboard. Cool. What else? Oh, I learned how to, adjust my rear view mirror. Or I now know on my side view mirrors, I should see a little bit of the side of the car and a little bit of the rear door handle. Great. What else? So instead of asking, how was the lesson, which gives you no response,
yes,
ask them, what did you learn? It's just like when they come home from school. How was your day? Fine, good, whatever. Right. What did you learn? I didn't learn anything.
Nothing.
Really? You sat in school all day. You didn't learn one thing?
Yep.
Right. Yep. So again, I think what we bring to the table, not only from a driving school standpoint, but from a parent's standpoint, is to help them in all different aspects. Because if you're paying for driving lessons for your teen, you want to know that your teen's learning. And it's not about the test. It's not about the driving test. Here in Pennsylvania, the test is easy. It really is. The hard part is when you're by yourself, when you have your license and you're driving the roads. That's the hard part.
Yeah. I remember being so scared. And it was so easy. Like I failed my first, actually. Let's full disclosure, failed my first time.
Okay.
Died. I was so humiliated because I was too scared to just take my right away. And I just kept letting people in. Here's the people pleaser. Go. It's getting
people
dark.
pleaser.
That's okay.
That's funny. Right.
But so, yeah, I failed. So I would love to ask I know we're getting out of time. I want to ask one more question before I ask one more question. And that is, what kind of example can parents set while they're driving now with their kids in the car? What can they start to say? So, because we know our kids don't friggin' listen to us at all. We know that. We know nothing. We're born with no experience.
Of course.
But they watch us like hawks. So what can we be doing as parents? I mean, the obvious, put your friggin' phone in the glove compartment. But other than that, like, what can we be, conversations can we kind of be initiating or showing them?
Great question. Really good. So here's how today's world is, right? So mom or dad in the driver's seat, teenager sitting next to them, and they're doing this, right? Scrolling, right? They have no idea where they are. They don't know what street they're on. They have no idea, right? So how can we help? So again, different states have different rules on when a teenager can get their permit. But regardless of the time, let's just say it's 16, right? And now they're 15 and 3/4. So in 3 months, right, or 2 months, they're going to be eligible to get their permit, right? Start to have that conversation then, right? Put the phone down, because I know you're going to be getting your permit soon. Really, Dad, I have to? Yeah, put your phone down and let's kind of figure out what you're going to be expected to do when you're behind the wheel. Okay, great. Okay, fine. What do I do now? Okay, well, tell me some of the signs. So the same things that we talked about in the beginning of the podcast, you can start to do that before they even get their permit, is thinking ahead.
Yeah.
So it's not, yes, they're observing us and our good habits and bad habits, whatever, but let's start filling their brains well in advance, right? What are the signs telling you? What do you notice? Have those conversations. Oh, well, that person, they didn't use their turn signal. You're right. Oh, that person, they rolled the stop sign. Or, oh, wait a second, that sign says no turn on red, but they just turned on red. Right?
Good.
Right. So you're doing those types of things. And now, okay, and I know everybody's got, crazy schedules. We're all running around, that kind of thing, with speed and that kind of thing. But ask them, where are you? Like, okay, we're at the grocery store, whatever, right? Yeah. Mom goes to the grocery every Sunday. How do we get home? Take us home. Oh, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, let's figure it out together. Right. Okay. You know what? Yeah, let's go to that light over there and let's make a right-hand turn. Okay. And then if they make a mistake, go along with it. It's okay. Mm-hmm. And like, wait a second, this doesn't look familiar. Yeah, well, we made a wrong turn like 3 blocks ago. Yeah. Okay. How do you get back there?
Yeah.
So it's those little things that can help the parents once they get their permit. So you're not screaming and hollering. You're not thinking that they know what they should be doing when they've never done it before. Mm-hmm. You're learning a new skill, and learning a new skill takes time.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting how you were talking about get me home. And all I can think of is the dependence I have on my Waze app or Google Maps.
Yep.
Is insane. And I paid the price one night when I was coming back from, I don't know, God knows where, and it's dark, and my phone died. I had no clue where the hell I was. I got off the highway, and I'm really good with directions.
Right.
But I am numbing that skill because I plug in my Waze, I put on my podcast, and I drive. And I'm literally not paying attention to a landmark or a turn or a direction. Like, I have to stop and go, wait a minute, am I going south? And without those apps, I could get you anywhere in the city at any point in time. I knew my direction, I knew my mileage, I knew everything.
Yep.
And I became dependent on this. Now, I'm aware of the dependence, but our kids, we have to make sure our kids are not depending solely on this and don't have any past experience of direction.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So again, we ask lots of questions. So in the beginning of the lesson, in the beginning of when they're starting to learn, I'm like, oh, do you happen to know some of the names of the roads you travel on? Oh, yeah, I know this one, Main Street to get to school and Butler to get to the restaurant or the gym that I go to, or something like, yeah, I have no clue. Like, okay, right. Things you want to start to work on. And then we'll follow up with, do you think, would you say you have a good sense of direction? And most are like, yeah, no. All right. And others are like, oh, yeah, show me a landmark. Right. So again, it's this, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just understanding that they just don't know. They think they might know, but they don't. And our job is to help them. Yeah. And I think that the resources that we provide at Parents Guide to Teen Driving it's not out there.
Yeah. Oh no. Right? That's why we're doing this. This is so important. My daughter, when she was learning to drive, I would say to her, okay, what direction are we going? And she would always say straight.
Sassy McSassy pants over there.
Well, I don't know. I was a little nervous that she actually thought that was the direction I was looking for. I didn't want to dive any deeper.
Right.
Listen, Todd, this has been so interesting and fun, which makes things better for everybody.
Thank you.
Is there anything I didn't ask that you really wanted to share?
I think, you ask great questions.
Thank you.
I think that when it comes down to it, it really comes down to understanding as a parent that you have to remain calm and try and predict what's going to happen, and understand that you can't force this process. It takes time.
Yeah.
And just understand that, at some point they will get their license. And then you have the other, the other side of the coin is, well, you've got 4 siblings and you got to take them all their activities and then their sports, this, that. Well, no, that's not the motivation for them to get their license. They become the in-house Uber minus the credit card charge, right? It becomes something, you want a safe, aware, responsible, defensive driver. So I'll leave you with this. And this is a great question. So prior to any of our students going to a test to get their driver's license, we will ask the parent and the student the following question. Let's just say your test is next week. Do you think that you're ready to be driving on the roads by yourself? And if there's a long pause, to me, that's a no. Well, you know what? They're probably fine going back and forth to school. Yeah, no, that's not okay. This is not learning how to play softball or soccer or lacrosse or learning how to play a musical instrument. You are driving a 4,000 pound killing machine. That's what it is.
Yep.
So again, you want to give them all the tools for them to understand the responsibility of driving. So that's a question that you want to ask.
Yeah.
And if it's a long pause, that's a no. Perfect example, my wife, she's upstairs. When our daughters went to go to get their driver's license, now mind you, in Pennsylvania, you need 65 hours of driving, right? They logged over 100 hours each. And I asked her the same question. The girls are going to get their driver's license. Do you think that they're ready? Without question, without hesitation, we both were on the same page. They were ready to go. And that's what you want. You want to make sure they're driven at night. They're driven in the rain, all different scenarios. They know how to park, right? So the resource is there for the parents to help them through this whole process.
That's so good. I have loved this conversation. I knew I was going to, but this has been so good because this is integral. This is something every parent is going to have to navigate at some point in time. It's not, oh, maybe if. It's, oh, yeah, you are. Yeah. And so I think this is amazing. Todd, thank you so very much for this. I love it. I can't wait for the listeners to hear this. And I want to thank you for listening to Parenting Teens Advice Redefined. Once again, the conversations you didn't even know you needed. See, that was one of them today.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. I'm so grateful, and we'll see you next time.
My pleasure. Thanks so much. And feel free to reach out, parentsguidetoteendriving.com.
Before you go, I really want you to know something. I'm not just a podcaster. I'm a speaker, a published author, and the founder of Insight to Impact. I'm an educational strategist and family advocate with over 25 years of experience helping families and schools support teenagers from diagnosis to IEPs, to interpreting assessments, to high school transitions, and beyond. This podcast, Parenting Teens Advice Redefined for Today's World, is part of my mission to help parents understand schools, support their teens, and feel heard and seen at the table. If today's episode helped you, please subscribe or follow the show, share it with another parent, and leave a review. It truly helps families find the support. And I'm very grateful when you do these things. And if your teen is struggling in school, navigating a new diagnosis, or you need help preparing support at school, you can work with me directly through educational consulting or my 90-day advocacy program. Just visit CherylPankers.com to learn more and to book a complimentary consultation to see if I can help. I know parenting is frickin' hard, but if you're listening to podcasts, if you're reading the books, if you're looking for answers, you are not failing because you're still trying. You do not have to figure this out alone. I got you, and we'll see you next week.